Today, I want to talk about an episode of Last Week Tonight with John Oliver, where he absolutely tore into healthcare sharing ministries. Now, I watched the full segment and I have some thoughts. First, let me just start by saying some of the things he said were true. There have been health shares that mismanaged funds or failed to pay members' medical expenses in a timely manner. Now, that's 100% unacceptable, and I would never recommend those health shares to anyone. But what John Oliver did in his segment was cherry pick the worst examples while completely ignoring the health shares that actually work well. You know, the ones that successfully share millions of dollars in medical expenses every year, the ones that pay quickly, and the ones that even send you flowers when you have a baby. So today we're going to break down what John Oliver got right, what he got wrong, and what he completely left out. Now, John Oliver repeatedly points out that healthcare sharing ministries are not health insurance, and he's absolutely right with this one. Healthcare sharing ministries, which is just a religious type of health share, are nonprofits where members voluntarily share one another's medical expenses. Now, they are not bound by the same regulations as health insurance, and they don't operate the same way. But John Oliver makes it sound like that's automatically a bad thing. What he doesn't say is that many people actively choose a health share over insurance because they actually prefer it. That's because with a health share, you typically see no network restrictions, which means you can see any doctor you want. They usually have lower monthly costs. Families often save thousands of dollars per year, and there's no fighting with an insurance company that profits by denying claims. Now, for many people, not being insurance is actually an advantage. And here's something John Oliver completely left out. While health shares aren't regulated by the insurance industry, they are still bound by general contract law. This means that even though health shares don't follow insurance regulations because they're not insurance, they do have legally binding agreements that members enter into. Each health share operates under specific membership guidelines, and those guidelines are enforceable under contract law. Now, just because they aren't regulated as insurance doesn't mean they have no accountability. It's just a different system, one that works well for many people who take the time to understand it. And let's be honest here, if traditional health insurance was working so well for people, then why do we constantly see GoFundMe fundraisers for medical bills with people who had insurance? Clearly, something is broken. Now, health shares provide an alternative, and for the right people, they work. Now, John Oliver spent a lot of time criticizing the morality clauses in some health shares, particularly the ones that require a Christian lifestyle. And he's right that some health shares do have strict religious requirements. Healthcare sharing ministries typically won't share in expenses related to a pregnancy to an unwed couple, for example. Now, this shouldn't be a surprise since this is clearly outlined in the member guidelines, which is what people are encouraged to read and understand before they join a health share. But what John Oliver completely ignores is that not all health shares have religious restrictions. There are secular, non-religious health shares that don't impose the same morality clauses on their members. So if you don't want a faith-based health share, you have options. And John Oliver completely skipped over that fact. Now, John Oliver also calls out Liberty Health Share for delayed reimbursements and member complaints about unpaid medical bills. And he's not wrong. Liberty Health Share has faced numerous complaints from members, and there have been news reports and Better Business Bureau complaints about delays in paying medical expenses. Now, personally, based on what I've seen and the feedback I've come across, I personally wouldn't recommend them. But if you're considering a health share, I strongly encourage you to research options carefully and choose one with a solid reputation, including a strong track record of sharing medical expenses efficiently. But again, here's where Oliver's argument falls apart. Just because one health share has faced criticism doesn't mean the entire model is broken. That's like saying all restaurants are bad because one has bad food or caused you to have food poisoning. Does that make them all bad, or maybe just that one? The truth is, some health shares have extremely high member satisfaction. They pay quickly and successfully share millions of medical expenses each and every year. But John Oliver doesn't talk about those. He only focuses on the negative examples. Now, John Oliver argues that healthcare sharing ministries can deny medical expenses if they don't meet the sharing guidelines. Well, yeah, that's exactly what the guidelines are there for. They lay out what is and isn't shareable so members know upfront what to expect. And yes, he points out that there's no guarantee of payment, which is true. Health shares aren't insurance and legally cannot guarantee payments the way insurance companies do. That's why they make it very clear that participation is voluntary and that sharing is based on the community following the guidelines. So is John Oliver right about healthcare sharing ministries? Yes and no. He exposed Liberty Health Share, which has had some real issues, not going to deny that, and he correctly states that healthcare sharing ministries aren't insurance. That's true, they're not. But he completely ignores that health shares have successfully shared billions of dollars in medical expenses with their members. He doesn't mention the health shares that pay quickly and take care of their members. And he makes it sound like all health shares are the same, that they are all bad, when in reality, some are incredibly well run. If you do your research and choose a reputable health share, you can save thousands per year and take control of your health care. Look, if you're considering a health share, you need to check out my free health share guide. This guide breaks down everything you need to know, how health shares work, how to choose the right one for you, plus it includes a checklist to help you avoid common mistakes. Click the link in the description below to download it now. Thanks for watching, guys.